Hi, this is Mark Cousino, and I'm the president of Butler County Homes Incorporated, and I'm also a licensed realtor with Real Estate Professionals. You're likely viewing this video as a result of a postcard that you've received and due to the fact that you have a house that didn't sell and it's now expired while trying to sell using conventional methods like using a realtor or listing with a realtor. To get something clear and offer a simple disclaimer, of course, I'm not an attorney, so you need to check everything I say with a legal professional. But I'm just speaking as a simple guy in the trenches who has a good deal of experience in real estate. Everything I'm communicating in this video is for educational purposes and based on my own observations and experiences. So please check with your own legal professional. I wanted to create something that could have an educational emphasis and that could help those who are trying, even perhaps desperately trying, to sell their house right now. Hopefully, by sharing some of my thoughts and ideas in what I've seen occurring in the marketplace today, it can have a positive impact on your house selling situations. I want to give you a renewed hope to getting your house sold in a relatively short time period, many times in just a matter of a few weeks rather than months, like you might have experienced already. And I don't know your particular situation or your reason for selling, or even if you're in a place of extreme motivation right now. But let's just talk about house selling as it might relate to what you've been trying already, and then also talk about what you can do that would involve thinking outside the box. And what I see people doing today to get their house sold is pretty much the same thing. They'll list with a realtor who puts a sign in the yard, places the property on the MLS, attaches a lockbox to the front door, and then hopes another realtor might come along to co-op the sale with. This is what everyone up and down the street is doing, and this is what you might be doing also, or some sort of variation of this. And maybe your previous realtor has even thrown out a newspaper ad, but the question I believe becomes, if you're doing what everyone else is doing, should you expect any different results? And the results are that an incredibly high percentage of properties are expiring after being listed for 6 months. I talk to people every week, nearly every day, that have had their properties listed for 6 to 12 months, or even longer, with no buyer even in sight. So if I'm making sense, stay with me. I've been buying and selling houses full-time since 1996, and part-time prior to this since 1988, for a bunch of years of total experience. And this has involved buying and selling literally hundreds of houses, most of these throughout the Butler County area, right here in Ohio. And here's what I found seems to work incredibly well. There are many, many people who are renting that would love to own a home, but their credit simply prevents them from getting financing right away. Or they need a little more job time, or there could be any number of a dozen good reasons why they can't get qualified for financing right now. You, as a seller, on the other hand, have a house you'd love to sell, but can't seem to compete with all the saturation of other homes currently on the market right now available for sale. You, or your realtor, has been laser focused on finding a qualified buyer who can get financing right now. This is where you can create something beneficial for both yourself as a seller and the current renter or would-be homeowner. You have a house to sell, and the person who may be currently renting would love to own a home. When you can expand your paradigm a little to think about the obvious into a range of buyers that are interested but not able to own a home, then you can open your doors to a pool of buyers that most realtors or sellers are not currently exploring. Now you can become competitive, offering something that your neighbor or your realtor might not offer, and probably doesn't even know how to offer. So what if you offered your home to a buyer that just needed some time on his or her side to get qualified? And by this, I don't mean a buyer with Prince of Darkness, awful credit, who's never paid a bill on time in their life, but rather a buyer who has a solvable credit situation. You could sell your house for top dollar, within reason of course, seriously reduce, if not eliminate, your holding cost, and I hope you haven't already moved and are caught in a dual payment situation, because then you really do understand what I mean by holding cost. Then you could completely eliminate your realtor fee if you offer your property as a FSBO and move on with your life's plans. This is a sales strategy known as a land contract or a lease option. Both sales strategies have certain nuances and details, but in a nutshell, what you want to attract and what I can help you with is finding a buyer with a solvable credit situation. A buyer making a monthly payment to you, usually enough to cover your mortgage payment. A buyer who can put at least a little money down, which I always make this money non-refundable to the buyer, so it becomes immediately spendable cash in your pocket. And a buyer who agrees to pay for all maintenance and repair that the property will need until they can purchase it. Like I mentioned, there are plenty of details that go into making this work well, like how to screen someone, checking credit, how much time to give them before they need to get the property refinanced. All of this, of course, is too much information to cover in one short video, but it can be answered. I'll give you my contact information toward the end of this video if you have additional questions. But think of this. How many of the neighboring homes that are for sale by owner or are realtor listed are offering a lease option or a land contract? And here's the question I always like to challenge sellers to ask themselves or to ask their realtor. Isn't it better to have a sale in the future than no sale at all? Isn't it better to have somebody that's screened, to have their credit pulled by my mortgage broker, to determine that they have a solvable situation, than to continue to let that property sit in the market? And best of all, my fee is usually paid by the buyer, so there's no cost to you. Give me a call sometime and we can discuss how that can work for both of us at 513-417-3447. So that's what I have for now. If you need any help, want to pick my brain, or have specific questions to what I just covered relating to using lease options or land contracts, don't hesitate to call me. 513-417-3447. And of course, I'm not an attorney, so you need to check everything I say with your legal professional, but I'm just speaking as a simple guy in the trenches. Take care.